There is a reason why so many people give up on a vegan or plant-based diet, and it has nothing to do with the food. In this video, I'm going to share the top 10 mistakes people make when going plant-based and how you can avoid them, as well as stories and lessons from my journey going plant-based over the last 10 years. If you are thinking about going plant-based, have just started a plant-based diet, or are just curious, this video is for you. Before we jump in, I just want to reassure you, going plant-based is one of the best things you can do for your health, your body, and your life. It's one of the most rewarding journeys I've ever been on. But like any journey worth embarking on, it comes with its own set of challenges and learning curves. And it requires you to get out of your comfort zone. Nothing worth doing is easy at first. And that's where I come in. I am Jess, a former vegetarian who has recently gone plant-based, and I'm excited to be your guide and share what has helped me on my journey to plant-based in order to help make your journey a little easier and more rewarding. So let's dive in, and make sure to stick around for reason 10 because there is a challenge that I hope you will accept. Reason number 1, people fail when going plant-based. They treat it like a quick fix or a fad diet instead of a long-term lifestyle change. Here's a fun fact. It takes your cells 5 to 120 days, depending on the type of cells, to regenerate and show or reflect any changes that you've made to your diet. So this means that on average, it takes between 60 and 90 days to see and feel the initial results of switching to a plant-based diet. It's not a quick fix. It's a lifestyle change. When you adopt a plant-based lifestyle, you're essentially taking on a self-renovation project, restoring your gut and your body to optimal conditions so you can look and feel your best. And as with any renovation or transformation, this takes time. But that being said, here are some of the initial results you can look forward to over the first 90 days of going plant-based. Week 1 to 2, you may feel lighter and have more energy throughout the day. Week 3 to 4, your gut microbiome will reset and begin to heal, and you may notice improved digestion and less bloating. Week 5 to 6, you'll start to see your complexion begin to improve as your skin cells regenerate and reflect the changes to your diet. Week 7 to 8, you should start seeing unhealthy weight falling off, if not sooner. Week 10 to 12, by now you should notice your cravings begin to subside and your taste starting to change due to the changes to your microbiome. And by week 12 and ongoing, you should start to notice all of the changes to your energy, your skin, your mood, your weight, your hormones, and your overall health. And these results should continue to evolve and compound over time as your body is constantly rebuilding and renewing itself using the food that you feed it as building materials. So think of it as an ongoing renovation project. So in order to be successful in your plant-based diet, do this. Visualize the healthier, happier, sexier version of yourself waiting on the other side of this renovation project, and commit to the journey over the next 6 to 12 months of becoming that version of yourself. And this next tip will help make that commitment even easier. Reason number 2 that people fail when going plant-based, not knowing their why. One of the biggest reasons people fail when going plant-based or vegan is that they jump into it without a clear understanding of exactly why they're doing it. Going plant-based isn't just a diet, it's a lifestyle change with a deeper purpose. And while everyone's why is different, some of the biggest reasons or whys for going plant-based are, number 1, ethical reasons. If you love animals and understand the horrors of factory farming and the harm it does to animals, people, and the planet, then this might be your why for going plant-based. Number 2, ecological or sustainability reasons. If you care about the planet and understand about the negative impact that animal agriculture has on the environment, and want to make a difference, then this might be your why for going plant-based. And number 3, health reasons. If you are struggling with any health issues or are just passionate about living your healthiest, longest, and best life, then this might be your why for going plant-based. Or you might be passionate about all 3. So for me, when I first went vegetarian and then plant-based, it was for ethical reasons. I learned about factory farming. I binge watched every documentary there was on the topic of factory farming, and it became clear to me that eating meat did not align with my values. But the longer I've been a vegetarian, and now that I've gone more plant-based and learned more about the harm that animal agriculture does to the environment, also just the impact on my health. The more I learned about these topics, the more my why has evolved to include not only ethical reasons, but also environmental and health reasons as well. Your why might evolve over time, but before taking your first steps towards going plant-based, it's really important to understand your primary why, and be passionate about your purpose for going plant-based, because this will pull you through any weak moments. Going plant-based is just like any other big lifestyle change, like quitting smoking, or going to the gym. It takes determination and commitment. And eating healthy is never as easy as eating unhealthy. So your why has to go beyond cravings and convenience to something deeper. So in order to be successful on a plant-based diet, do this. Take a moment to reflect on your why for going plant-based. And if it helps, check out my video, 10 Reasons to Go Plant-Based, for some inspiration and to see what resonates the most with you. Once your why is clear, write it down on a piece of paper and put it somewhere visible, and so you have it to serve as a daily reminder on your journey. Reason number 3, people fail when going plant-based. They focus on cutting out foods instead of adding in plants. This may be the most common reason people fail when going plant-based, and is likely why many times people are complaining about feeling hungry or low energy. They think they need to deprive themselves by cutting out foods in order to be successful, like a typical fad diet. But what they actually should be doing is eating more plants. Most people that are following a typical SAD diet, the standard American diet, are actually deprived of fiber because they're eating such a low fiber diet. So when you're switching to a plant-based diet, the best thing you can do as a first step is to simply add more plants. And you can start this process slowly by swapping out animal proteins for plant proteins, adding more plants and whole plant foods to your diet, cutting out dairy, and doing this over a few weeks, a few months, until you feel really empowered and confident to take the next step towards going fully plant-based. And you can compare this approach to starting a strength training regimen, which I'm actually doing at the moment. But as a beginner, you don't run to the 200-pound weights. That's a rookie mistake. You start slowly, maybe 5-10 pounds, whatever you feel comfortable handling at the time, and then you work your way up to the big leagues. And the same applies in this case. Start slow. This is the method that I used over the last year as I cut dairy out of my diet and went more plant-based. I didn't do it all at once. It was a journey. And that journey helped me see just how much dairy was negatively impacting the way I feel and my health. And this made me even more excited to go full plant-based and cut dairy out for good. And because of this, I now feel empowered in my choice instead of deprived. And to be honest, I don't even really miss cheese. So in order to be successful when switching to a plant-based diet, do this. Choose one new plant food to add to your diet every day over the next month, and preferably to switch out for an animal food. And if you need inspiration, I've created a 1-week meal plan, beginner friendly, that you can use for inspiration and to get started. And you can find this in my bio. Reason number 4, people fail when going plant-based. They don't educate themselves on plant-based nutrition. You wouldn't expect to become a decent surfer without any surf instruction, or to speak a new language without any language lessons, and the same principle applies when switching to a plant-based diet. Plant-based nutrition and switching from a SAD diet, a standard American diet, to a plant-based diet is a lot easier when you understand the how and the why behind it. For example, I started becoming obsessed with gut health and the microbiome about a year ago, and I've been consuming any book, audiobook that I can get my hands on the topic. And the more I've learned about gut health and my microbiome, the less I want to consume foods that might cause harm to my gut health. I have literally had a few episodes of standing in the grocery store, staring down a bag of sour gummy worms or a pint of Ben & Jerry's, having a battle inside my mind-gut axis for a good 5 to 10 minutes over whether I'm going to buy the Ben & Jerry's or should I not. I'm happy to say that recently my gut always wins, and I've chosen an alternative to the ice cream or the gummy worms or whatever it may be. And I never regret that choice. Every time you flex that decision muscle and pick healthier foods, it gets a little easier. And this channel is dedicated to educating you on the ins and outs of a plant-based diet and a healthy diet in order to make those healthy choices a little easier. So in order to be successful when going plant-based, do this. Pick a book, an audiobook, a podcast, to dive into this week in order to educate yourself on plant-based nutrition. And if you need inspiration, I started a plant-based book club playlist where I share inspiration and takeaways from the latest plant-based books I've been reading. Reason number 5, people fail when going plant-based. Rookie nutrition mistakes. One reason it's so important to educate yourself on plant-based nutrition is to avoid rookie mistakes while you're adjusting to your new plant-based lifestyle. A few rookie mistakes that people make when going plant-based are, number 1, adding too much plant fiber too fast to their diet, which if they're not used to a high fiber diet can result in gas, cramping, just lots of discomfort in the gut while it adjusts. Number 2, limiting themselves to only a few plant foods, which results in, not getting adequate nutrition or even calories, which can lead to just low energy and exhaustion. And not giving their gut enough time and their body enough time to adjust to the new diet before they call it quits. This is why you may have heard former vegans talking about how they were always hungry or they weren't getting the right nutrients. And it's very likely that they just weren't following the right diet for their body. And by right diet, I mean eating the right plant-based foods to get adequate nutrition on that diet. Here are a few tips to avoid rookie mistakes when going plant-based. Ease into increasing your fiber intake early on when you go plant-based to avoid discomfort and bloating as your gut adjusts. Once it adjusts to the additional fiber, it will thrive on the added fiber. Number 2, make sure you're getting lots of plant power foods in your diet to supply you with long-lasting clean energy. And at least one meal a day, load up your plate with as many different whole plant foods as possible. Fruits, veggies, grains, legumes, seeds. For me, that's dinner. Everyone's different. Some people like to have a big meal first thing of the day or maybe at lunch. But at least one meal a day, make it a really big, hearty, filling meal. And this will make sure that you're feeling really satiated and satisfied. If you feel hungry throughout the day, even with, the big meal and 3 meals a day, make sure you're adding enough protein to your diet. So plant-based proteins, definitely recommend things like beans, legumes, as these will really help keep you full and satiated for longer. And then also you can add in high protein snacks throughout the day, like a chia pudding, overnight oats. And finally, give your gut and your body time to adjust to your new diet before calling it quits. Any type of new lifestyle takes lots of exploring and experimentation to find what works. Everyone is different. Everyone needs a slightly different variation of diet and routine and meal timing in order to find what works best for them. So in order to be successful on a plant-based diet, do this. Follow my plant-based cheat sheet that I've included in the bio, listing all of the power foods, as well as the plant-based meal plan that I've shared to help you get started in adding in more plant-based meals to your diet. Reason number 6, people fail when going plant-based. Not following a meal plan or planning their meals. As with any new habit, it's important to set yourself up for success when starting a plant-based diet and make it as easy as possible to stick to your goals. If your goal is to join a gym and work out every day, then you're advised to lay out your gym clothes the night before so it makes it easier for you to get ready in the morning, right? Well, when switching to a plant-based diet, there are 3 things that can make or break your long-term success. Number 1, clean out your fridge, your cupboard, and throw out any unhealthy or processed foods and animal foods if you're ready to go all in. If you have unhealthy foods, processed foods sitting around in the house, you're just setting yourself up to fail. Make it easy on yourself and start with a clean slate and a clean fridge. Number 2, stock your cabinets and fridge with healthy ingredients and go-to snacks to set yourself up for success with your new meal plan. I think one really important thing you can do is make sure you have healthy snacks on hand for when any cravings hit. And then number 3, follow an easy weekly meal plan and do at least one day of meal prep early in the week to make it as easy as possible for you to stick to that meal plan throughout the week. When you plan your week and do all of the upfront work like the grocery shopping and meal prepping to make that meal plan as easy as possible to follow, then before you know it, you're that girl who makes healthy, delicious meals for her family, or in my case, just myself and my dog, and makes it look easy. And this is because when you have a plan and you do the upfront work and you stick to it for at least a few weeks, it starts to become a habit and then it becomes effortless. All change is hard at first, but with the right plan and regular practice, it becomes effortless. So to be successful on a plant-based diet, do this. Check out the meal plan I've created for you in order to make your first week and months of going plant-based as easy and enjoyable as possible. This meal plan introduces you to easy and delicious high-protein plant-based meals so you can see what you like and add them to your regular weekly meal plan. You can find the link to the meal plan, the shopping list, and everything else in my bio. Reason number 7, people fail when going plant-based. They treat a plant-based diet like a giant pill instead of a fun adventure. Many people treat going plant-based or going vegan like a big pill to swallow, a sacrifice, a cross to bear. But actually, going plant-based is an adventure. And to be honest, there's never been a better time to go plant-based. Vegans and people going on a plant-based diet have so many options to choose from farmers markets to special grocery stores to new vegan and plant-based restaurants popping up all over the place and serving inventive food, anywhere from vegan fast food to chef tasting menus. Instead of treating a plant-based diet as something you have to do or you should do and focusing on the things that you're going to miss, like cheese, for example, think of it as an adventure and focus on all of the new flavors and foods that you'll get to explore. The truth is, our tastes change over time. And while you might not think that you have a taste for tofu and veggies right now, trust me, that can change very drastically. While our taste buds regenerate every 10 to 14 days, our tastes evolve from the time we're a kid to an adult. And they also change with things like, for example, your gut microbiome, your gut makeup, and the microbes that live inside of your gut can also influence your taste. The flavors that we seek out tend to also evolve from childhood to adulthood. And the more we explore and seek out different foods and different flavors, the more our tastes evolve. For example, when I was a kid, I thought kale was the worst thing I'd ever tasted. My mom would force us to eat it, and I thought every time that I was going to puke. But now that I'm older, I will literally seek out kale. So have fun exploring. You may feel right now like you will only ever crave cheese and Cheetos, but trust me, your taste can change. Just give it time. I don't consider myself a true foodie. I just like things that look pretty and taste good and aren't dead carcass. But I've had a lot of fun lately exploring, trying out new restaurants, new plant-based foods, and seeing what's out there. On a recent train trip across 4 countries and 6 cities, I decided to make it a little vegan foodie adventure and find a different plant-based restaurant in each city I went to. And this turned out to be so much fun. Got to try so many different plant-based foods in different countries, from plant-based lasagna in Milan, Italy, to an insane vegan cheese plate, a plant-based cheese plate and pasta in Florence, to plant-based versions of traditional Czech dishes in Prague. So in order to be successful on a plant-based diet, do this. I challenge you to kick off your own plant-based foodie adventure by finding a plant-based restaurant in your area and treating yourself to a delicious plant-based meal, or playing chef and trying a new plant-based dish at home. And also join me for a dinner date each week where I make a new plant-based dish at home. Typically, I've been trying to make dishes that I've never tried before. Reason number 8, people fail when going plant-based. Over-relying on processed vegan foods and meat replacements instead of whole plant-based foods. I've noticed a troubling trend recently when I share with people that I meet or acquaintances that I follow a plant-based diet or I don't eat meat. They will oftentimes come back to me with like, oh, I don't think it's healthy to eat all that processed stuff, all that processed vegan food or processed meat. Many people have or seem to have heard this narrative that vegan food is processed and unhealthy for you, which very likely was pumped out by agribusiness. But this is misinformation. This is mislabeling an entire lifestyle simply because some foods that, yes, are unhealthy in our process are labeled vegan. So let's clear this up. Yes, there are unhealthy foods that are vegan, and yes, there are unhealthy vegans, just as there are countless unhealthy meat-based foods and millions of unhealthy meat-eating Americans. They are all unhealthy for the same reason. They are eating too many processed foods and not enough plant-based whole foods. Vegans can be unhealthy too when they're not eating the right foods, but that doesn't make being vegan unhealthy, and it doesn't make being a meat eater healthy. A plant-based whole foods diet is based on eliminating processed foods and animal products as much as possible and replacing them with whole plant single ingredient foods. Plant-based diets have been proven over and over again across countless studies to lead to the best health and longevity outcomes. So really when it comes to going plant-based, the game is simple. Diversify your plant intake, and that's how you win. So in order to be successful on a plant-based diet, do this. Treat any meat replacements or processed vegan foods like a processed food. Only eat them on cheat days and kind of see them for what they are, which is junk food. And instead, focus on eating single ingredient whole plant foods, which means foods that come from the earth instead of a package. Reason number 9 that people fail when going plant-based. They treat it like a religion instead of a journey. When I started my journey to plant-based over 10 years ago, I didn't realize that I was taking the first step to my best self. I was just trying to align my actions with my values. No matter your reason, going plant-based is a meaningful and exciting journey. It won't be perfect, but it will be worthwhile, and it's one of the most powerful ways that you can impact the world around you. But here's my point. It's not a religion. If you are curious to follow a more plant-based lifestyle and have an impact through your diet, but you're not ready to give up cheese yet, that's okay. It took me 10 years to give up cheese. I gave up meat over 10 years ago, but it took me this long to get to the next level and give up other animal products. Start where you are, find your why, and take the first step. Maybe your first step is adopting Meatless Mondays, so giving up meat one day a week. Maybe your first step, like me, like it was in my case, is going vegetarian or pescatarian. Maybe your first step is going flexi-vegan, like I did over the course of all of last year. Or maybe you're ready to go full plant-based. Wherever you are, do this to be successful when going plant-based. Instead of postponing your journey to better health by waiting until you're ready to go plant-based, make a decision to start today and take just one step towards going plant-based. If you are ready to start your journey to plant-based, then make sure to take a minute to hit the subscribe button as I'll be sharing everything that I've learned over the last 10 years on my own journey going plant-based. And that leads us to the last reason. Reason number 10 that people fail when going plant-based: not joining a community to learn and grow with. Many people fail when going plant-based simply because they feel alone and isolated in their decision. They have no one to connect with, relate to, or encourage them on their journey. And I can truly relate to this one because the first time I went vegetarian was over 20 years ago, which I know dates me a bit. I originally went vegetarian as a teenager when I was about 15. However, after a few years when I was a broke and hungry college student, I think I was 19, I finally caved when my roommate was waving McDonald's cheeseburgers in my face repeatedly. And that decision unfortunately led to the unhealthiest decade of my life, my 20s. Fortunately, I made it back to being vegetarian 10 years later in my 30s. And since then, I've been very lucky to make more friends and have more of a community in the vegetarian and plant-based space. But the community that I've built over the past few years that has made the biggest impact on me in my plant-based journey has been the community that I've built online on Instagram and YouTube. I've come across so many inspiring vegans and plant-based athletes who have shown me what a plant-based lifestyle can look like and inspired me on my own journey. And that is why I've started this channel, to build a strong, encouraging plant-based community and help inspire you and encourage you on your own journey to plant-based health, and help you build your best health, self, and life through a plant-based lifestyle. My goal is to make it original and authentic, sharing my own journey as I explore how to live my best plant-based life. From learning how to properly cook tofu to increasing my plant-based protein intake as I start a strength training regimen. In some ways, I've learned so much over the past 10 years, but in many ways, I'm still learning. And I'd love for you to join the community and come along on the adventure so we can learn together. So on that note, please share in the comments where you are on your own journey to plant-based. What are your biggest hurdles? What are you most excited about? And what kind of topics would you like me to explore next? I'd really love to hear from you. In the meantime, I challenge you to explore your why for going plant-based, and I recommend checking out my video, 10 Reasons to Go Plant-Based, for some inspiration. See you on the next one.